want to welcome you. My name is Hillary Hagland Walker. I am here tonight as a member of the Young Professionals Network of Lufkin, Angelina County, and I'm here with my co-moderator, Scott Skelton, who is the chair of the Legislative Committee of the Lufkin, Angelina County Chamber. We just want to welcome all of you guys tonight. We're excited to provide this opportunity for the community to learn more about each candidate that is running for elected office and a little bit more about the offices to which they run. So we're going to give each one of them an opportunity to introduce themselves, and we'll be asking them a series of questions as well. I want to take the opportunity to thank Jerry Huffman and the Chamber staff for organizing this event. They've worked very hard today and in the weeks preceding. And thank the Lufkin Daily News. They are also a sponsor, and they have done a great job of advertising this event for us as well. The Chamber and Scott, as a chair of the Legislative Committee, and myself with the Young Professionals Network, are so glad that you guys have come out to this event. It's the first of its kind for the area, and we hope to continue to do it if tonight is successful. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to pass it off to Scott to talk about some of the rules and how we will handle tonight's ceremony.
Okay. All right, again, welcome to our forum. I want to lay out some rules. We want to have a nice, orderly night. I'm going to give you the order that we're going to go in first. We're going to start with the county clerk race, and then the next race will be the commissioner race with Steve Allen, Greg Harrison, and Kyle Looney. And then after that, we will switch to the commissioner race with Bill Brown, Bobby Cheshire, and Scott Cooper. And then last, we'll do the race for County Court at Law Judge number 1 with Todd Cassaw and Joe Lee Register. So each candidate will have approximately 2 minutes to introduce themselves to the audience, and then we will begin a series of questions. We'll alternate as to who gets to answer the questions first, so it will be fair. Some of the questions were prepared in advance by a committee that worked on some questions and looked at various questions that might be appropriate for tonight. If you want to ask a question, you can submit one on a note card and we will look it over, and we will try to ask as many of those as we can, but we don't make any promises. We would ask that you not ask any questions from the audience, mainly for time purposes, but also so this will be nice and orderly. We have asked the candidates not to interrupt each other. The time limits, which I'll talk about here in just a minute, are going to be strictly enforced. We are encouraging that everybody be civil. This is not a debate, and we don't want to have any gotcha moments. We're just trying to provide you an opportunity to hear what the candidates have to say in each answer. So we have a timer that we borrowed from Lufkin Independent School District. It's set for 2 minutes, and during the first minute and 25 seconds, it'll have a green light. And then about 25 seconds left, you'll see a yellow light. And then with about 3 seconds left, it'll start to flash red, and then it's going to beep and tell you that your time is finished. So we thought, to be fair and so that everybody would kind of know where they were in the process, that we would use the light. So again, welcome. We're glad you're here. We've got a full room. We hope y'all will listen, and if you have questions, again, submit it to us. So I'm going to invite those that are running for county clerk to come up and take the podium. You can just come from this side. We'll make sure your microphones work, and we'll be happy to get started here in just a second. I was just reminded to tell you that the table in the back, there's a white table. It's to my right of the coffee. Mr. Wayne Haglin is standing there near it, and they will take your questions there. So they'll bring those up to us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your timer. This is what's going to warn you of when to start, so you can just kind of be watching that. We're going to start in alphabetical order. So, Crystal, you'll get to go first. Okay. And tell us for about 2 minutes about whatever you want to talk about to introduce yourself. So I'll start the timer in just a half second.
Ready? Okay, I would like to first thank the Chamber and the Young Professionals Network for organizing this event. My name is Crystal Brent, and I'm running for Angelina County Clerk. I was raised in Angelina County. After graduation, I attended Angelina College. My daughter, Destiny, attends Huntington High School and Angelina College. She recently enlisted in the Navy and will begin serving September the 9th. I have worked for Angelina County for about 6 years. I worked as Deputy Clerk to District Clerk Reba Squires for 4 years. There, I was responsible for filing of family, civil, and criminal cases. I was also the Deputy Clerk responsible for handling Judge Gerald Goodwin's docket. I have been Assistant Court Coordinator to County Court at Law Judge Derek Flournoy for the past 2.5 years. I'm responsible for handling family, probate, civil misdemeanor, criminal, let it stop there for a minute, civil, criminal misdemeanor, and juvenile criminal cases on the court's docket. In these positions, I have gained the knowledge and experience to be Angelina County's next county clerk. As county clerk, I assure the taxpayers of Angelina County that the county clerk's office will be open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and that the deputy clerks will be cross-trained in all areas necessary to efficiently assist the citizens in courts. Under my leadership, I guarantee that the duties of the county clerk's office will be carried out with integrity, honesty, and diligence. If elected county clerk, I promise to do my best to make the taxpayers proud of the office of the county clerk. Tonight, I'm here asking for your support and your vote. I'm asking you to vote for a change. Thank you.
I'm Dickie Dixon. Officially, I'm Herschel Harry Dixon Jr. For a while in seminary, I went by Dick, so I tell everyone that I'm actually just another Herschel, Dick, or Harry. I want to thank you, the Lufkin Daily and the Chamber for putting this on. Delivered by Dr. Thames, I was originally born in Lufkin. My family on my father's side, the Finley side, has been here since 1837. And because of that connection, we actually own the old stone fort because of the Cordova Rebellion. As Archie McDonald's grad assistant at SFA while I was working on my master's in history, I took a public records course and in which we had to write a sawmill entrepreneur's biography. And through that, I learned to work in county records. I was the program chairman for the Angelina County Historical Commission for 5 to 10 years. I'm an experienced landman, genealogist, and historian. Because of the Corps of Engineers move of the Marion Centennial Marker, I also worked in a lot of county clerks' offices to prove that that marker needed to be moved back. Because of my work as a landman, a genealogist, and historian, I've worked in 10 to 15 different county clerk's offices, the General Land Office, and the State Archives Library, using records, and actually have taught people how to use those records there. As a professor of history at Angelina College, I taught a distance learning class at Kennard, Hudson, Big Sandy, and Trinity, and I took my students there to teach them how to use those records. Because of that, I've been a customer in county clerk's offices, and I've seen the best of practices and the worst of practices. One of my pet peeves is that government employees be responsive to the customers. Thank you.
I'm Amy Fincher, and I'm running for county clerk. I have been a longtime resident of Angelina County. I graduated from Hudson High School in 1995. I have been married to Wes Fincher for over 16 years. Together, we have 3 children. I have been a member of Lufkin First United Methodist Church since 1999, and I'm in my 3rd year of teaching a children's Sunday school class. I also serve as treasurer on the Lufkin Main Street Advisory Board. I am currently a supervisor in the county clerk's office, and I have 13 years experience as deputy county clerk. I have been trained in every position in the office. I have worked in the criminal records, the civil, probate, and guardianship records, and I'm currently the mental health deputy clerk, and I also work the front counter issuing birth and death certificates, marriage license, assumed name certificates, military discharges, brands, and I file real property records. If elected county clerk, I will make wise decisions in the use of the taxpayers' funds to continue to update the office and provide the best quality service to Angelina County. I will run a professional, courteous, and efficient office. I am very dedicated to my job. I'm a hard worker, I'm honest, I'm responsible, and I am confident that I can do this job. It will be a smooth transition. I will not have to be trained. I can come in on January 1st and manage the office. I believe with my 13 years experience and my knowledge of the office that I can best serve Angelina County as your next county clerk. I would appreciate your support. I thank you all for coming, and I will be glad to meet with you afterwards to answer any questions you have.
Okay, we're going to switch the order. So since Crystal started, we'll now start our questions. And Mr. Dixon, you're going to get a chance to answer first. And then Amy, and then Crystal, you'll go last, and we'll rotate through the questions that way. So the first question is, tell us about your greatest accomplishment in your professional career and in your personal life.
My greatest accomplishment was that I got my master's in Hebrew at Dallas Theological Seminary. I had hoped to get my doctorate in Semitic, so I took Biblical Aramaic, Classical Arabic, and New Testament Greek. In the process of doing that, I made the highest grade on the advanced placement exam to enter Dallas Seminary. In my personal life, I would say my greatest achievement is my family. In the process of taking Greek from Hamp Keithley at a Holiday Inn restaurant, I met my wife, who was the waitress. I led her to the Lord, and we lived for about 36 years together before she passed away about 2 years ago. I have 6 grandchildren, ranging in age from 16 to 1. One turned 1 today. And my daughter, I have 2 daughters, Sasha, who lives here in Lufkin, and Sarah, who lives in Durham, North Carolina.
All right. Amy, you're next. Tell us about your greatest accomplishment in your professional career and in your personal life.
Okay. I started working in the county clerk's office when I was 20 years old. Through all of these years, I've learned a lot. I've got to work with the county officials. And I believe my biggest achievement will be, this has been my biggest achievement, just the encouragement that I've had to run for public office. And my personal life, of course, would be my family. We are a Christian family. My husband and I make sure that our kids go to church, and we just try to teach them right. And I'm very proud of them.
Tell us about your greatest accomplishment in your professional career and in your personal life.
In my professional career, I would say, I've been in the courthouse, like I said, for 6.5 years. I started out in the district clerk's office, was there for about 4 years before I received a call from County Court at Law 2 requesting that I come and work for them. It's a huge accomplishment to be able to go from the district clerk's office and be requested to come and work for a judge. From there, I hope, like I said, to be elected as your next county clerk, which will absolutely be the biggest accomplishment in my life. Personally, I've raised, like I said, my daughter is 17. She'll graduate from high school this year and go into the Navy, and I've done that as a single mother, of course, with the help of my family, and I feel like that's a huge accomplishment, especially for the young lady that she's turned out to be. I'm very proud of her, so that in turn makes me very proud of myself.
Okay, and continuing to ask our questions, and this time we'll start with Amy, and then Crystal, and then Mr. Dixon. And so the next question is, What skills and expertise do you possess that would make you qualified for the county court at law position?
The county clerk position.
I'm sorry, the county clerk position. I will
okay.
make more than one mistake tonight. I apologize.
Okay. Well, of course, like I said, I have 13 years experience in the office. I've worked every job, and I believe that I am the most qualified candidate. I'm the only candidate that has ever worked in the county clerk's office, and I believe that that makes me the most qualified. I've also attended seminars with the county clerk. I've received training. I go to commissioner's court and bail bond board meetings when the county clerk is not available, and I can do any job in the office.
Working in the various offices that I've worked in, I've had the opportunity to work closely with the county clerk's office. I've familiarized myself with the filing of cases in the district clerk's office as far as our civil family cases that we've filed. Also working in county court at law too, the cases that are filed in the county clerk's office are heard by Judge Flournoy or Judge Inselman in the county court at law courts. I've seen the cases from the moment that they've been filed to the moment that they end. So I'm very, very familiar with all the cases as far as your probates, your family case, your civil cases, your juvenile cases, so forth. So I definitely believe that through those offices, I've gained the experience and knowledge to be the county clerk.
All right, and Mr. Dixon, you're next.
Yeah, I grew up in a business family. From the time I was 14, I delivered furniture for my father, so I met the public from the time I was 14. And I have over 25 years of business experience in a stair-step ascendancy from being a delivery man to a furniture store owner to a warehouse supervisor. And I also can interface well with the ministerial community and the educational community. I'm also the president of Angelina County Genealogical Society. I believe that background in business helps me want to commit myself to great customer service. The difference between our business and government business is that if we didn't take care of our customer, we didn't have one. And so I believe that we in government offices should do our best to be as customer friendly as possible, to interface well with the legal and the judicial community so that we do our job well in a business-like manner where we do our utmost to save the taxpayer as much money as possible, and that we commit ourselves to delivering a day's work for a day's pay in an honorable way. I also believe that we should also strive to have extended hours and where we make our things more accessible to the public. So I think good business practices in my background will help me be a very good county clerk.
All right, so we're back to the top. So Crystal, you'll go first, and then Mr. Dixon, and then Ms. Fincher. So the next question that we have is, what is your major area of concern in the position of county clerk, and how would you go about addressing that concern?
No, me. I'm sorry. Okay, I've actually expressed some of
closer, yeah.
Some of the. Is this on?
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that I believe need to change within the county clerk's office. Those have been, at this point in time, I realize that the county clerk's office is an 8 to 4:30 or 4:45 office. I believe that it should be an 8 to 5 office. I believe that the taxpayers are paying us to serve from 8 to 5 o'clock. I believe that there are ways that can go about being done, whether it be staggering your staff from 8 to 5 and 8:30 to 5:30 in order for that to happen. But I think that it's very important for us to be able to serve the community in those hours. Another thing that I do plan to change is to make sure that everyone within the office is completely cross-trained in every single department that there is. I think that It's very helpful to be able to go into an office and know that at no point in time are you going to have to wait for one or two individuals that may be trained in that certain position. And those are just a few of the changes. I realize that if I get into office, there may be other things that I see that do need to happen. And of course, I'll always have an open door policy for any individuals, whether it be in the clerk's office, in the courts, or in the community.
Okay, I think it's your turn next, Dickie. So what are your major areas of concern in the position of county clerk, and how would you address those concerns?
I believe that we should have hours that are more accessible to the public, maybe Saturday hours, as well as one night a month, maybe where we're open on Monday night. I believe that we need to make more of our records available where they're searchable on the computer. The deed records go back when the county was founded in 1846. I believe that we should do everything in our power to educate the public about the availability of the records. As a genealogist, I know that there are a lot of people out there that would like to know how to use those records. I think that we could publicly educate the public so that we could teach them how to use those records. By putting the land records online, many landman companies buy subscriptions to purchase those land records online, and we could generate revenue thereby to do that. It would be easier, it would be more accessible to the public. I am really concerned too that we interface well with the courts so that we serve them in a user-friendly way, and we do everything in our power to make what we do better for them.
Okay, and Amy, you're next. What are your major concerns with regard to the position of county clerk, and how would you go about addressing those concerns?
Okay. I would definitely make more public records available online. This would include our real property records, and I would also make our court records available on our county website. I would also give our customers the option to pay with a debit card. As of right now, we only take cash or check, and that can sometimes be inconvenient. I also would hold monthly meetings with my employees, which I would like to say that we have a trained, courteous, professional staff in the county clerk's office. I would hold monthly meetings with them that would allow better communication. I can get their input. I can let them know of any concerns or changes that need to be made. I would continue to build a team that will work with the county officials and other departments to provide the best quality service for Angelina County.
Okay, so I think we're back to starting with Mr. Dixon. We're going to ask you to be a little bit introspective and tell us what are your greatest strengths and what are your greatest weaknesses?
Well, my greatest strength is my greatest weakness. I think that I'm a giver. I think I'm almost a pathological giver, that I give almost too much to some people sometimes. I work right now at Office Depot, and I pride myself on good customer service there, where I make sure the customer's taken care of. I'm thorough, whether it's Hebrew or whether it's history. Everyone from seminary to SFA will tell you that I'm a very compulsive researcher. I think that gives me a leg up on my opponents in that I understand that a person at the county clerk's office can make or break a landman's project or a genealogist that's looking for something. Sometimes a little tidbit of information along the way goes a long way to helping someone to find something that they need.
Okay, next, Amy, you're up, and tell us your greatest strengths and your greatest weaknesses.
Okay. My greatest strength is probably that I am a hard worker. I take pride in the work that I do. You can ask some of my coworkers. I can spend all day on something, and if I don't feel like it's right, I'll redo it. I want it to be perfect. I have worked since I was 16 years old. I was brought up that you have to work hard for what you want, and that's what I try to teach my kids. My weakness would probably be something like this. I'm not good with crowds, but I'm doing my best. I'm kind of shy and reserved, but this experience has kind of helped me come out of that. So.
I would say that my strongest weakness, good thing about me, I'm trying to say, is I'm a hard worker. I take pride in what I do. Like I said, you can't put me on the spot here, but I'm a very, very, very hard worker. I learn quickly. Another thing that I think is I'm very good with people, and I think that in this position that's going to be something that's very important. Probably my weakness would be I generally take on more than I probably should. I probably go above and beyond and sometimes catch myself doing for others and forgetting about myself. So that's pretty much, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. You did a great job. One more round of applause.
Good evening. Just as we did with the last race, we're going to start in alphabetical order. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then we will begin with the questions. So our first candidate is Mr. Allen.
Good evening. I'm Steve Allen. I'm the Angelina County Commissioner from Precinct 1. I was appointed to this position by Judge Wes Souter in the Commissioner's Court to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Harrison after his passing. It has been my privilege to serve as County Commissioner, as this role as County Commissioner, and I seek your vote to continue serving the residents of Precinct 1 in Angelina County. I was born and raised in Angelina County. This is where I choose to live. This is where my family lives. I want to introduce my wife, Sally, my son-in-law, Jay Vinson, my daughter, Ashley, that is expecting our first grandchild. Before becoming your Angelina County Commissioner of Precinct 1, I invested over 30 years with TxDOT, working in road construction and maintenance with a multi-billion-dollar budget and 21 employees. I am honored to serve my community by putting my knowledge and experience to work for you in a role as your county commissioner and will continue to do so. As a conservative Republican, I continue to be frugal with your county tax dollar. The money is important to our families and keeping our tax rate low. I am a supporter of sustainable economic development. I want to see growth in the community. This adds to our tax base. This will allow us to provide even better service and safer roads for our communities. I am supportive of our law enforcement and emergency services. They need to have the proper tools and trained qualified personnel to keep our county safe. My office is your office. I believe in open, active communications and accessible to me and my office by our residents. Thank you for attending tonight, and I will appreciate your vote starting tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Mr. Harrison, please introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Greg Harrison. I am running for Commissioner Precinct 1, Angelina County. I've lived here all my life, and my wife, she would have been here tonight, but my oldest brother's in the hospital at Tyler, so she's with him for me. So, but I've been very lucky. I got two wonderful boys, and a wonderful daughter-in-law. So I've been asked to run for this position, and I think I could do a good job at it. As far as the crews we have right now, not even just in Precinct 1, the whole county, we got good crews and good leadership. Ain't no way I'm going to say somebody's not doing a good job. I just have different views, and I'd love to have a chance to do my best for y'all. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Kyle Looney. I also am a lifetime resident of Angelina County, pretty much Precinct 1. I don't know, the numbers might have changed over the years, but I've been in the Hudson area. This is the second time I have sought this position. I ran against the incumbent in the last election, and I did not, for the record, seek the appointment during the application process. I just wanted to throw that out there because I've been asked several times. I have been a business owner in Angelina County for 25 years. During that 25 years, I've worked for 10 different state agencies. With those state agencies, we have done several different jobs. We've worked with budgets. We've had to work within certain guidelines. And I feel like that I can maintain the budget that Angelina County has set forth for Precinct 1. I can work with the crew that we have for Precinct 1. And I feel like we can develop a better way to communicate between the citizens and the commissioner and develop a better way to maintain the roads. So I would ask you for your vote, and I guess that's all I have.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Harrison, I'm going to ask the first question of you, and it'll be the same question for all candidates. First question is, what skills and expertise do you possess that would make you qualified for this position?
Since I went to work at 11 years old, I worked in all kind of construction. I've been very fortunate to have a job all my life. So I ran a business for 15 years, and I'm not going to call the gentleman's name, but we went from one building a month to 872 buildings a month, and that was under when he hired me to get it done. Yes, I did have a budget. He was pretty strict on that budget, so I would have to make him some money, and we did. We did a good job at it. So as far as budgeting, I mean, I would have to buy all the materials, keep all the hours on the guys. I mean, it was pretty good numbers. So yes, as far as running the budget, I have a lot of experience in that. As far as doing for the county, I mean, we have to get together in all the. Let me just say this. There's a gentleman told me the other day. He said, you know, if you lived here, I'd vote for you. I said, in Precinct 1. He said, but I don't live in Precinct 1. I said, I'm gonna tell you something, partner. This whole county is who we work for. It's not just Precinct 1. We have. We're sitting on the board to do things for the whole county. Now, Precinct 1 is our number one priority, but I think with my experience, I think we could do a little bit better job. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Looney, same question. What skills and expertise do you possess that would make you qualified for the position?
Well, like I say, I've been in business for 25 years. That says a lot in itself nowadays, and working with 10 different state agencies and following their guidelines and their budgets and making sure that everything was done to their standards. I think that's a good skill set myself, but being able to interact with the people and talk with the people, and this is a job for and of the people, and I think I have that skill set. I think over the years that I have been able to understand what people want and understand what I need to do to achieve those goals. So I guess that would be it.
Thank you.
Well, starting out at TxDOT with 30 years, you know, I started at the bottom and I worked my way all the way up to the top to be maintenance supervisor for the last 8 years that I worked. And, you know, working on roads and maintenance is something that we need to consider because our road system is deteriorating as it stands now. We need to see if we can get them up and do something to them. And I actually think with my budget experience from working at TxDOT that I do have the ability to get the roads up and to make some progress and start showing some signs of improvement. As far as budgets and stuff, I have knowledge of all that, and I think I qualify for it.
Thank you. Mr. Looney, this question is for you. What one item would you cut in the current budget and why?
I don't know that there would be one item in the current budget that I would cut or could cut, because if it's in the budget, I feel it's of importance. Maybe we should look at it as cutting a certain amount, maybe 10% from all the line items of the budget. How could you say that one item is more important than the other? You have your employees' salaries, payroll. You have the road and bridge fee, the hard surface road fund. I don't know. I can't answer that question by saying that there's one item that's more important than the other. The best I could say was I would work my hardest to maybe cut cost in every one to make it balance.
Thank you. Mr. Allen?
Well, there wouldn't be no items that I would actually cut in the budget, but I would ask for them to reduce their budget some. But as far as cutting an item out, I'm like Kyle, I can't see no items that you really need to cut as it stands.
Thank you. Mr. Harrison?
I think both these gentlemen answered that question very well. You can't just go in and cut out one thing. It's just, you have to go through and maybe you can cut a little bit off of the rest, but you can't cut out one item. I mean, you're looking at people's jobs, and if you maybe cut out on some of this other stuff, but not one item. You can't do that. So we'll have to see. Hopefully, if we get in there, we'll actually have that answer better. But I don't think it's just one item that any one of us would want to just cut out. So, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to start with Mr. Allen for this next question, and this one came from the audience. What do you consider the primary purpose of county government?
Primary purpose of county government, I would consider, there are several things to consider. Your roads and stuff would be one of them for the people to travel to get to and from their places. And then the county clerk's office, the judges and stuff.
Mr. Harrison? What do you consider the primary purpose of county government?
I think in county government, we would be here to help the community with their taxes and that kind of stuff. But what we're here for is we're here to govern what is spent in this community. Hopefully we'll do a good enough job. Nobody likes paying taxes. Maybe we can get in here and bring some stuff down so we don't have to pay as high taxes. I can't tell you that. I mean, I ain't no way I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna cut taxes, but I think we can all, as government, we can get in here and save some money on some different things and maybe help the burden on you guys. So thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Mr. Looney.
I would say that the primary would be to provide the services that are required by the citizens of not only Precinct 1 but Angelina County in return for the tax money that they have paid in, and to be available to answer questions and concerns that they have, to be a voice for Precinct 1 to take whatever question they have to the next level, or to answer their question, or to look at their problem, or to just to be there to serve them. I feel like that would be our primary objective.
Thank you, sir. Okay, this question is for Mr. Harrison. What kinds of jobs, interests, or volunteer activities have you pursued during your career and currently? What kinds of jobs, interests, or volunteer activities have you pursued in your career and are you pursuing now?
The jobs I've had over my lifetime is mainly construction. I've always stayed busy. I've never, like I said, never been without a job. The interest was my boys. We did the baseball and the basketball, and I give of our time, which is for my kids. But I was president of Hudson Baseball Association, just different things. And as far as I'm in the Lufkin Host Lions Club, we do the rodeos and different functions, and then of course I'm in some other different things. I'd rather not bring that up, but anyhow, because I can't. But anyhow, but anyhow, it's all good. I promise you. You know. But my main interest right now is just trying to take care of the folks of Angelina County. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Looney, same question to you. What kinds of jobs, interests, or volunteer activities have you pursued during your career and currently?
My whole adult life has been construction in several different aspects, from commercial construction to residential construction. My whole life has been my family. Everything I've done has been family driven to take care of them and better them. And beyond that, anything that I volunteered to was the church. I've always been very church oriented and church minded, and tried in every way to assist any young person or anybody I could at the church. And I love to volunteer in that area.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, same question.
As far as the jobs and stuff, was working with TxDOT for 30 years and stuff, working on roads and doing stuff like that. And the interest that I do, I enjoy working on cars and stuff like that, and, you know, and doing things for the community to make it better and a better place to live.
Thank you. Okay, this is the final question for this panel. We're going to start with Mr. Looney. Why should voters support you rather than your opponent in this race?
That is a good question. Why should voters support me rather than my candidates, my opponents? Because I'm going to do you a good job. I really am. And anything that I've ever taken on in my life, I've given it 110%. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to answer your questions. I'm going to do my best to bring all the roads in my precinct up to a standard and maintain that standard. And I'm also going to be your voice on the Commissioner's Court. If there's anything anybody in my precinct wants, they want it brought to the other commissioners, they want it studied, they want it, whether you're another elected official or whether you're just a citizen of Precinct 1. I want them to come to me because I'm gonna be there for them. I'm gonna take care of it. If I get in this, I want to be in it for the long haul. I'm not just gonna be in it for a while. So I guess that would be the best way I could answer your question.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Allen, same question. Why should voters support you rather than your opponents?
Well, with my roadway experience in construction and working on the roads and stuff, I feel like I can do them a better job as far as keeping the roads safe and, you know, addressing the issues out there. And, you know, with my budget experience with TxDOT and stuff, and working in bad weather and emergency management and hazardous spills and stuff like that, I just feel like that I can do a better job and take care of all of it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Harrison, Why should voters support you rather than your opponents?
Well, like I said before, I feel like there's not every one of us sitting up here that can't handle this job. We could all do it. I have had lots of experience in working in the field of construction. I have run a business. I did make it the money part of it. We did great. But I will not say I'm better than every person here. I do think if I did get the job, and it is a job to me, I will not be working just for Angelina County Precinct 1. It's every person in this county. I do want the people of the county to have a voice and try to help the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. You may step down. Thank you. Yeah, you may step down. Thanks.
Okay, and at this time, we're going to invite the next commissioner's race to come up. That is Mr. Bill Brown, Mr. Bobby Cheshire, and Mr. Scott Cooper. I just remind the candidates, those of you with the cordless mics, if you'll hold those as close as you need to so we can hear you. And if you have the one with the wire, then you need to turn it on and off because we get a little feedback, and I'll do the same down here. So we're going to start with Mr. Bill Brown, and he is going to get to tell us a little bit about himself.
I'm Bill Brown. I am running for Angelina County Commissioner Precinct 4, born and raised in Angelina County. Went to school and graduated from Diboll High School, attended University of Alabama. My wife Sharon and I have been married for 31 years. We have 2 boys, one 27. He's married to have a granddaughter now, so that's really exciting after having 2 boys. I have a younger son who attends East Texas Baptist University. The reason I'm up here and the reason I'm running is because I feel like I really have the experience to take care of this. I've served 16 years on the City Council of Diboll, 11 years as councilman, 5 years as mayor. A lot of government experience, a lot of budgeting experience. I've been a business owner for years. Of course, you know, when you're on the council in Diboll, there is no pay, so you have to have another job. So anyway, got a lot of years of business experience, budgeting. I've managed a multi-million-dollar company before, so I know how to stay in budgets. I know how to keep our taxes as low as possible. I know how to get every dollar you can out of everything. I'm a taxpayer just like you are, and my thought is I don't want to pay any more taxes than I have to either. But we want to give the best service available to you. I want to serve the people. I've always enjoyed doing that. I've been a youth minister. I've done all kinds of stuff and served the community. I even played Santa Claus for the senior citizens for about 15 years in Diboll. So anyway, it's just community service is in my blood. I love doing it. I love serving, and I think I'm very well qualified for the position.
Okay, Mr. Cheshire, you're next.
Good evening. Thank you, everybody for being here. I'm Bobby Cheshire, your conservative candidate for Commissioner Precinct 4. I'm a lifelong resident of Diboll, Texas. I'm married to my best friend and supportive wife, Chandra, for 12 years. We have 4 beautiful children and have recently been blessed with the custody of our 5-year-old niece. My mother's family settled in Angelina County back in 1831 on land granted from Stephen F. Austin in the Bald Hill community. Angelina County has always had a very special place near and dear to my family, and this is why I want to give back to our community through service to the people. I have 9 years of experience as a police officer, 15 years of experience as a business owner, 3 years of experience in restaurant management. This background provides me a unique insight that I feel is necessary in the office of the commissioner and by someone with a conservative value that you deserve from an elected official. I believe in a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The only campaign promise that I've made that I intend to hold government accountable to the people. I have not, and I will not, be accepting campaign donations, whether monetary or materialistic, for this commissioner's race. I do not want to be indebted to a campaign donor for any favor that they may want from elected officials. Those that I want to be held accountable by are the taxpayers and the voters. I will use proven common sense business management practices when in office that have proved nothing less than successful for me. I'm a candidate in the Precinct 4 race. I pledge to the voters my life, my fortune, however small it may be, and my honor, that I will implement common sense business management practices, strong leadership in our county government when elected to represent you as Commissioner of Precinct 4. May God bless you, and may God bless Angelina County.
And Mr. Cooper, you're next.
Check. Oh, good. Hi, I'm Scott Cooper, County Commissioner, Precinct 4, and I'm running for re-election for the position. I'd like to say thank you all for coming out tonight, because without you here learning about us, then it's difficult to make a good decision, and I hope we as the candidates present the information that you need to make a wise choice. I'd also like to thank my wife, who's out there sitting beside me every step of the way. As I said, I'm running for re-election. This is my first term, and I hope I've done a good enough job. Some of the things I've accomplished in my first term is, one of my big goals is improving the relationships between the County Commissioner, Precinct 4, and the cities and the other elected officials' positions. For a long time, everybody was doing just their own little thing in their own little world. And it's been mentioned before that we are working together to try to build Angelina County, and that's something that I've worked very hard for in my first term. I've worked with the Sheriff's Department in working with their budget and other projects, with the cities of Burke and Zavala and road building projects and interlocal agreements to help them further their goals and needs, because small cities need help. And we as the Commissioners Court, commissioners have the equipment to help them out. So it's a team effort, and that's what I've been trying to do for the past 3 or 4 years. Continuing that on in the future, one of the things I'm planning to do is work together with all the departments to figure out where we're going to go in the next 5 to 10 years. We need a plan. We need a direction. It's hard to get someplace if you don't have a goal and a way to get there. So working together with the other elected officials, the cities, the citizens, and the other commissioners and the judge to set that direction and what we need to accomplish so that we can get there. Of course, one of my personal goals in the precinct, I had a challenge to overcome, which was the condition of our equipment. Road equipment wears out, and I had to accomplish that goal before I could step to my next section of goals, is to bring in new equipment to use new technologies so that we can improve our roads more cost effectively. Thank you.
Okay, the first question will start with you, Mr. Cheshire, and it is, why are you uniquely qualified for the position you are seeking?
Yes, I'm the only candidate in the race that holds a Class A CDL. This is a vital license to be utilized to operate county equipment. In my commercial trucking experience, there's not a piece of county equipment that I haven't owned or operated at some point in time in my career. And I have the working knowledge to put that skill to good use for the county to better serve the county with saving our tax dollars.
And next, the question is to you, Mr. Cooper.
I believe 3 years so far as county commissioner qualifies me quite well for the job. However, some of the background that I have that brought to the position, education experience. Both my parents were teachers, so I learned about education. I spent 18 years in television news covering the news all around East Texas, so that I learned about what the people need, what they want, the differences in the different communities, and how you have to balance the needs of one community with the needs of another. I grew up with a construction background in high school and college. I worked my way through school in construction, so I have a construction background. It's the culmination of years of experience in multiple different facets that I bring those to the table. working with budgets, $1.2 million budget for Precinct 4, making sure we don't overspend, that everything's used wisely, budgeting experience, I think, and dealing with the people. The biggest skill is problem solving. I listen to people, listen to what's going on, try to find a solution, coordinate with other people to try to solve the problems that are out there. So that's a skill set that I think I bring that is much needed in the Commissioner's Court.
And to you, Mr. Brown.
Well, as I said earlier, I've spent 16 years on the Diboll City Council. We had a $5.3 million budget that we had to take care of. We did a lot of time working on that, trying to get the people the services they need while keeping our taxes low, and we've done a good job at that. The other qualification, I think, is a business experience. I've dealt with multi-million-dollar budgets before. You have to, as a business owner, everybody knows as a business owner, you've got to come within budget. If you don't make any money, there's no sense being in business. So we have to treat this the same way, the county. We have to try to squeeze everything we can out of every tax dollar that we can. Like I said, don't want to spend any more tax dollars than we have to. Last of all is, I've spent a lot of years supervising crews, whether it be subcontractors, employees, so forth and so on, all over the state of Texas. So the thing about it is, you have to have a working relationship with your crews. They have to know a direction that you need to go in, and I believe I can give that direction to them and take care of our road needs that desperately need taken care of right now.
And the next question will start with you, Mr. Cooper, and it is, if you were to look at the budget and examine the items, what do you think needs to be addressed there? It's a form of the question of what needs to be cut and what needs to be added to.
That's a very good question. Actually, when having dealt with the budget for the past 3 years, there's very little we can cut anymore. The county has been on a program of cutting and not spending for over a decade as per the wishes of the citizens of Angelina County. Well, we have reached a point where we're going to have to look at what we can do with what's left. It's going to be once again, that teamwork effort. We're going to have to all sit down and say, okay, where are we today? Where do we need to be tomorrow? And how are we going to get there most cost effectively? There's no one answer that can solve that problem. You can't cut one line item here. You can't cut one position there. It's an overall evaluation of every department and all the costs. It's a long-term plan. You have to figure out today, like I said, where you need to be tomorrow, and then you have to bring the citizens and the communities in together to get them to understand that it's not a one fixed thing. It is a long-term plan, and if you implement it in a long term, then each step will be much easier to develop. You just can't go say, well, today we're going to cut 4 people out of this office, and that'll solve our budget issues. That'll never work. If you go in with that mindset, you're doomed to failure. It's a process, and I believe that process needs to be started, and that's one of the things for my 5-year, 10-year plan is how do we get to where we're going to be next.
Mr. Brown, you're next. In examining the budget, how would you look at it? What would you cut and what would you add to it?
Like any budget in the municipality or in the county, if you try to cut taxes, which everybody wants to pay lower taxes, but when you cut taxes, you also either have to do one or two things. You have to, cut services. And when you cut services, then people are upset about that. So it's a fine line to work. I do agree with Mr. Cooper. There needs to be a long-term plan put in place on that. Also, looking at the budget also, I believe there needs to be a long range, especially for the rural areas, a long-range plan for the road system. My understanding right now is on our roads, we just take care of what we need to take care of. I think we need to do a long-term plan like we did in Diboll so we can evaluate all the roads, set budgets aside to repair those roads. So if you're living on XYZ road, you'll know that in 2016, we're going to come repair your road, and we're going to try to stick to that, yet still have money left aside to take care of emergencies and repairs. It's a tight race, guys, as far as, trying to match funds with services. So we just have to try to do the best we can. We have a very capable county court and a very capable judge that can help us try to do that, and your input is greatly appreciated on that also.
Mr. Cheshire, to you.
I don't think we would need to be cutting our county budget at this point in time. Our county roads have been deteriorating at a rapid rate. We've seen a progression over the last several years where they've gone from dirt to rock to oil, and now they're in a steady decline of going back from oil to rock and back to dirt. And this is costing us taxpayers lots of money. And I think we need to step up and increase our county budget to eliminate that process at this time.
Okay, Mr. Brown, you will start with the next question, and it is, tell us your philosophy about working with the federal and state government and its various agencies.
Well, we need to try to get as much help as we can. Of course, anytime somebody talks about working with the federal or working with the state government, you're talking about, taxes going up and stuff like that. But there's a lot of resources available for us to do different things on the road. If you look at the old Diboll Highway where it's getting repaired right now, it's in bad shape right now, but it's going to be nice once they get finished with it. And then they'll have to be maintained, by us. But, any opportunity we get to have government funds, state funds available for us, we need to take that opportunity, whether it's through grants or whatever. So I think we need to take advantage of all the resources we possibly can.
Mr. Cheshire, to you, how would you work with state and federal government and its agencies?
From my experience as a police officer, you have to work hand in hand with agencies that you would coincide with, coexist with. This would be essential to the citizens of Angelina County Precinct 4. You have to build those relationships, build the rapport, and work with your state legislators and federal legislators to try to obtain funds that are available and utilize them in a proper manner.
And to you, Mr. Cooper.
Currently, Angelina County is entered in on several grants from both federal level, state level. We evaluate them on a case-by-case basis because sometimes you don't want to enter in on some of those grants. The strings attached are, burdensome, and we don't want to burden the county. Even though there's money out there, you don't want to get the money if there's a string that burdens us in the process. I've already developed a good working relationship with TxDOT. All the commissioners have because we deal with them on a regular basis, our road interfaces, with our adult probation and those offices. We have to deal with the state level because that's part of the process, of the legal process. So there's already a good working process. It goes back to the teamwork motif that I've tried to present, is if you're working together, you can accomplish great things. If you're trying to go it alone, it's very, very difficult. So you have to work with them, but always keep in mind that as a commissioner, the county comes first, and the state comes second, and the feds come third. That's how I have to look at it because I'm your elected representative. I represent you, and I am your voice, and I have to listen to you, and I have to represent you. And so that's the priority. And so that's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to do, and I'll continue to build those relationships and, of course, be observant at all times to make sure that we keep Angelina County safe.
Mr. Cheshire, we'll start with you on the next question, and it is, what major area of concern do you have with regard to the county, and how would you go about addressing that problem or concern?
There's several areas that concern me now. One is our airport. We could attract some major corporate investment in our county if we had a little better facilities. I think it needs to be modernized. Also, our dump is a very good resource that the citizens of Angelina County profit from. And we need to look at that area and invest evaluate it for equipment usage and see where we could improve it.
Mr. Cooper, what are your major concerns and how would you go about addressing those?
Major concern, of course, as I stated, is our lack of long-term planning. And that's one of the goals I'm going to accomplish in my next term, is to try to get some direction, some goals, some plans, and some direction, basically. I agree with Mr. Cheshire that our Angelina County Airport is a great facility. It's an awesome facility. I'm a pilot myself, so I love going out there and associating with the pilots, but it does need to be improved and added on to and growing. It has a plan. We just need to make sure it continues on and move forward in that direction. Another lack of thing which is endemic with all county government is lack of communication. Because each department has its elected official and they are day-to-day have to do their day-to-day jobs. And sometimes we forget to get out and go visit the other departments. I try to visit the sheriff's department. I try to go over to the clerk's office, try to visit the other commissioners. But even with that, you get tied up in your job. So try to make sure that we start communicating more. That teamwork effort that starts at communication.
And to you, Mr. Brown, what are your major areas of concern and how would you address those concerns or problems?
Well, first of all, as a commissioner, I'd like to spend more time out in the community with the people, being able to go door to door, talking to them and finding out some of their concerns and stuff, and also be available, to answer their questions. If they call, I will return your call. If you ask me to come out and I tell you I'll come out, I will come out. So that's one thing I would like to see. Second is, it's back into the road system and just some of the rural areas. I had somebody ask me inside the city of Lufkin, as a commissioner, what do you do for us? And I can tell them that, hey, we preside over the budget for the different departments, inside the county. But in the rural areas, people are really worried, about their road systems and stuff. And that's why I'd like to do the long-term plan. That's one of my main goals, is do a long-term plan on the road systems, in the Zavala area and in all the rural areas and stuff. And get on a program, to where people know when things are going to be taken care of. And when they call in, we have a daily schedule that we can follow and take care of.
Okay, we're going to wrap up this group of candidates with the next question, and Mr. Cooper, you'll be first. Why should the voters of Angelina County support you rather than one of your opponents?
I'll go with why they should support me. I've spent 3 years working hard and diligently to try to improve Angelina County. I think I've accomplished some of those goals, but I still have a few things that need to be accomplished. It's when you come as a commissioner, you realize that it takes time to accomplish some things. I've accomplished a few in the short term, but there's still the improvement to the technologies in my road work. Mr. Brown did allude to that fact that we do have difficulties maintaining our roads because of the cost of the ever-increasing cost of equipment and materials. But with new equipment, you can use new materials, which gives you the ability to fix more road miles with the same dollars. And that's the process that I'm just about to embark on, and I hope you'll give me the opportunity to finish that job that I was doing. And I've also had the 3 years on the budget experience. There's no ramping up for it. We already know where we're going. We've got the plan set to go. So I hope that my last 3 years and this coming year will be what you have needed it to be. And so I'm hoping that my job performance so far has put me a step above, and you'll wish to reelect me to Commissioner Precinct 4.
And I think, Mr. Brown, you're next. Why should the voters of Angelina County support you rather than one of your opponents?
Well, I feel I'm very qualified as far as the governmental experience, as far as the budgeting, staying within budget, trying to keep taxes low. You can look back on the record at Diboll of how we've done. We've tried to keep as low as possible, so I have that experience. But the business side, I think, is the most important side. Trying to stay within your budgets, trying to stretch every dollar you can, trying to keep as much stuff. We have a lot of hard-working companies here that I think we need to try to keep as much stuff local as we can. And I would just like to see everyone prosper inside the county. The economic development, I think, is very important for our county, too, to try to bring in as much as we can, to try to help our economic growth. So anyway, I think I'm very well qualified, and I would sure appreciate your consideration when it comes to election time. Thank you very much.
And finally to you, Mr. Cheshire.
Thank you. I think my public service experience as a police officer taught me how to be a public servant, the difference between self-sacrifice and self-service. I think a public servant should be a servant to the people. My experience in restaurant management, dealing with other people's money with honor and integrity, and large volumes of money that we dealt with on a daily basis, and managing employees at that time. My business background in commercial trucking leads me the unique insight that the other candidates do not have. Being able to operate equipment and knowing when that equipment is in good shape, and knowing when an operator is doing a good job and when he's not. Most recently, my wife and I had an in-home daycare out of our home. We were licensed by the state and regulated by the government. So I understand what government regulation is. When they have the option to walk into your house at any point in time without, notice, and look at your records to see if you're abiding by the law and providing the services you're supposed to be providing. Those are unique qualities that I hold as a candidate, and I intend to implement those when elected.
Well, let's give these three candidates a round of applause as they exit the stage.
We would now invite up the candidates for County Court at Law number 1. Gentlemen, as you know, you'll each have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves to the folks here tonight. Mr. Casall, you will go first. You may begin.
My name is Todd Casall. I've been living here in Lufkin since 1990 with my wife, Kim, who's in the back. Kim Casall, who is a special education coordinator at Lufkin ISD. We have 2 kids. Katie, who is a senior at Texas A&M. Tanner is a senior at Lufkin High School and will be a freshman at Texas A&M in the fall. I've practiced trial law here at Zaleski Law Firm for the last 23 years. I have been board certified in personal injury trial law since 1996, and I have been handling cases for businesses and individuals here throughout that time period. A variety of cases, over 1,800 court cases in hundreds of courtrooms from here to Dallas, to Beaumont, to Texarkana, and even in the Rio Grande Valley. A few years ago, I became a certified mediator, and I've been mediating cases for the last few years, helping people resolve the cases, helping attorneys and their clients resolve the cases before they have to go to trial. I've been very active in the community. Since I came here in 1990, I've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I've served on the board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce, including chairman of the board in 2009. I have been assistant scoutmaster for Troop 136 for the last 7 or 8 years. I've been the chairman of the Angelina County Youth Fair for the last 20 years. And by the way, Youth Fair starts next week and the sale is March 1st. I'll encourage all of y'all to attend. I've also been an active member at First United Methodist Church. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to test it?
Testing.
Okay.
You hear that, folks? Thank you.
Here, you're on.
All right. I am Joe Register, and I am a candidate for the County Court of Law number 1 of Angelina County, Texas. I am from Lufkin, Angelina County, Texas. I've lived here all my life except the 3 years I was in law school. I finished my undergraduate degree at Stephen F. Austin and South Texas College of Law for my Juris Doctor's degree. I practiced law here in Angelina County for over 40 years. I am board certified by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization in Family Law, which less than 1% of the lawyers in Texas have this honor. I am a former county attorney for Angelina County. I was a prosecutor in that position. I prosecuted the criminal cases and the misdemeanor type cases, which is the same court that I'm running for. I was the prosecutor in that court. I am a member of the Texas Academy of Family Law Specialists. I have served on book committees as an appointee for the preparation and providing of books to young lawyers, which I was very honored to do. In family law, I am a 2010 president of the Angelina County Bar Association. I have been involved in multiple activities in the past. I started youth football in Angelina County in 1973, which we were very proud of that program. It went from 177 kids to probably 550 now. I am married. I am a Christian. We attend Denman Avenue Baptist Church here in Angelina County. I'm married to Robin, and Robin's back there. Thank you, dear, for helping me put all those signs up for sure. I have 4 children. I have 2 daughters that are school teachers. One teaches at Diboll, one at Henderson. I have a son who's with me tonight. Thank you, son, for coming. He works in the energy field, and I have a younger son who is approximately 28 years of age. Arkansas Little Rock Law School. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Register, the first question goes to you. What has been your greatest accomplishment in your legal career and in your personal life?
Well, first of all, I'm going to take the second part first. I met my wife and married her, and Robin, I love you very much for standing by me and doing the things that you do to help me in this election. She's been great, and that's probably one of the greatest things that anyone can have is a good helpmate, Christian lady. Probably the one in the legal field is my passing of the board certification test in family law. 43 people took that test, 27 passed. That's why I was only 1% of us is certified. It allows me to do what I can do in the field of family law, which this court we are actually running for is a family law court. My opponent says that it's not, but if it quacks and it walks like a duck, it's a duck. It's a family law court because we handle 2/3, actually 100% of the family law cases, and the judge's time, about 2/3 of his trial time is family law cases. So my accomplishment in my certification was probably the best and greatest thing that I accomplished. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Castle, same question to you. What's your greatest accomplishment in your legal career and personal life?
In my legal career, I've represented a lot of people, a lot of businesses, a lot of individuals. There's no one case or thing that stands out. I am also board certified, and Mr. Register is right. That test is very difficult, and passing that test was a great accomplishment. But the one thing that I've tried to do as an attorney is to be remembered as a really good person who happened to be a lawyer. And so in terms of picking one accomplishment, I'm not sure that I could do that. I've tried to just be a good person who happened to be a lawyer, and when elected, I will be a good person who happens to be a judge. In my personal life, my greatest accomplishment is hands down, without question, being married to my wife for 25 years, and the fact that we have raised 2 kids who love the Lord and who are genuinely making an effort to be a disciple of Christ. Thank you.
You can leave your mic on, Mr. Castle. You're up again. Next question. What do you perceive as the greatest obstacles to justice?
One of the one of the greatest obstacles to justice is money and people's position in life. If you can afford the greatest lawyer in the country or the greatest lawyer in the state, then you have a better chance. And that's a huge obstacle for some folks. Some folks that can't even afford a lawyer may not get all the justice that they're entitled to. And so that's probably one of the greatest obstacles. And what I intend to do as judge to overcome that is treat every case as if it is the most important case at that moment. There's big cases, little cases, and lawyers will sit around and drink coffee and compare and say, oh, I got this big case coming up. But some of them, this case is not very big. But the person that's standing there in front of the judge or in front of the jury or at the table, whether it be a criminal defendant or a civil case or a divorce case or a probate case, it doesn't matter. The person that's standing there, that is the most important case in the world. And I intend to treat every case as if it is the most important case at that moment. Thank you.
Mr. Register, same question. What do you perceive as the greatest obstacle to justice?
I'm not sure if money is necessarily one of those things that's an obstacle, but at least when you can hire a lawyer, it sure makes your case easier to take care of. And as long as you got a competent lawyer with you in court, then hopefully you can eliminate those obstacles. I think actually one of the obstacles that I face lots of times, and not necessarily in this county, don't get me wrong, is appearing in court and trying to convince my client that the judge is going to be fair in this case. Unfortunately, when the judge ruled in the case not following the law, it's real hard to tell your client, well, the judge ruled in this case, but you said that the law was on my side. And the problem is sometimes we have judges that are not qualified, not experienced in the field that they're actually holding court. And this is a big problem for litigants who think they're in court and that day is their day in court and they're going to be treated fair by that judge. Sometimes, folks, it just does not happen. So we as voters and actually try and should try to get the best people qualified, the best experienced judges that we can have, because when you handle these cases and these people, just like Todd said, this is their case. This is their day in court. And it's really hard to go out and tell that young lady that, I'm sorry, but the judge is fixing to take your children away from you because of a problem you got. So these things really need to be taken care of by a judge who has that experience, and sometimes, folks, it just doesn't take place. Thank you.
Mr. Register, another question for you.
Yes.
It's a three-part question.
Oh.
What is your vision for the future of the judicial system, and what changes would you advocate and why?
Well, the judicial system that I'm approaching this time and seeking election, that is a county court at law position. It is a family law court. And my position would be that we need to continue to develop that court. I think that court has a big job ahead of itself. It has a big job every day because of the amount of family law and the criminal cases that we have in it. Some of the things that I would probably do to assist that court in trying to help is, one, we handle a lot of inmates from the jail. I propose this to the county attorney's office, and I think the sheriff's office needs to look at it. We need to consider video arraignments, that where we don't have to take those inmates from the jail to the courthouse. It's for safety. It allows us to actually expedite what we're doing as judges and lawyers in trying to take care of that business. I believe that we need to handle more programs dealing with family violence. At this day's age, family violence is a major issue that we have for the judges to take care of. I believe that we need to try to make docket changes that streamline our court system. And I believe that if we can do that, that the function of the court would be more functional as to taking care of everyone's legal issues. Because again, when you come to court, those folks are there, they want their matters handled promptly, and the best way we can do that is try to have a functioning court with good judges.
Thank you. Mr. Cassaw, same question. What is your vision for the future of our judicial system, and what changes would you advocate and why?
The one thing that I would like to see us do, especially in this county, is to expand, and we have good programs in our county with the drug court and various programs that we have here, and they're good. And we have 4 good judges in our county. We're very fortunate to have 4 good judges here. I would like to see that expanded so that we can affect more people, help more people. Now, don't get me wrong, if you break the law, if you violate the law, there must be consequences. There has to be consequences if you're not following the rules. But that does not mean that every person that doesn't follow the rules needs to go to jail. Some of these folks, especially young people, need to be on a better path. They need to be redirected. They need to be shown how they can live their life in a more productive way. And so I would like to see us expand that so that we can reach more young people and direct them in a more productive manner, and possibly go beyond just the drug court or just the other courts that we have that are in the evenings. There's not any reason why we can't do more of that, given if we're within the budget. We can't just go crazy, but I would like to see us expand that so that we can benefit more people.
Thank you. Mr. Cassaw, another question for you. Do you believe judges have an obligation to improve public understanding of the courts? And if so, how would you carry out that obligation?
Well, yes, of course they do. And they do that by the manner in which they conduct themselves. They do that by the manner in which they live their life. They do that in the public. They represent the county. They represent that court. And they should abide by them. Well, first of all, they're required to abide by the laws of the state of Texas, by their judicial oath, by the laws of the state of Texas and the United States. And so as an example, they can show that. But they can also educate people when they're in the courthouse, when they're there, by giving better explanation, better information, more information. It's not necessary that you just bang your gavel and say, case dismissed or denied. You can give some information and give an explanation in some instances and educate people in that fashion. But I think the absolute most effective way to educate folks about our judicial system is just by the way you conduct yourself in the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
Thank you. The question again, Mr. Register, do judges have an obligation to improve public understanding of the courts? And if so, how would you carry out this obligation?
First of all, absolutely they do. First of all, I would try to get the knowledge to the public on what takes place at the courthouse. I'm telling you now, folks do not understand what the jury system is about. They don't understand jury service. They don't understand why they get called to the courthouse. The thing that needs to be done is, and I'd love to see a website set up by the County of Angelina that actually explains to those folks who actually are looking to go to the courthouse for services or for their matters to be taken care of before a jury or a judge. And that would be easily done. I think you could actually have some information included in that website that tells folks what misdemeanors are, what felonies are, what the punishment is. So the judge actually should be trying to help in some way let folks know what really happens at the Angelina County Courthouse. Also, another program I've enjoyed, and I've seen it happen for a number of years, The schools have school children that come to the courthouse, and those children are actually placed in the courtroom. They're allowed to ask the judge questions. Now, these youngsters, we're talking about sometimes they're 6th graders, 5th graders, high school students. So that's one thing that we can do as a judge to help better get the public to better understand what happens. You know, it might be very elementary, but it's a start in trying to help folks understand what takes place at our courthouse. And also, I would like to see us provide to the juries some information as to what goes on at the courthouse in your selection. Sometimes juries are basically at loss. What am I doing here? What am I supposed to do? What's expected of me? If nothing else, a simple pamphlet in the letter to the jury telling them what jury service is all about. I think that is something that we could do as judges. Thank you.
Thank you. This will be the final question. Mr. Register, you're up again. What would your rules of thumb be for carrying out justice as the judge of the county court at law number 1?
Well, first of all, you got to have cases heard. This is a working court, and you are entitled to a working judge. A judge needs to be there timely, and he needs to work his 8 hours every day. If he needs to work over, then justice has no time limit. You provide that time in service to the public. And if a judge is working and doing what he's supposed to do and tending to the business that he's there to do, then he will take care of his business. And when you have people come in before the court, I think you need to tell them exactly what's happening in this case and what will take place, and hold down. When I say hold down, that's to say when people come there for trials or litigation, then you need to control your courtroom. You need to control those litigants involved. At the same time, as a judge, you need to be courteous to the litigants, the attorneys, and respect to the judge is very important. It goes both ways between lawyers and judges. These are things that any judge should practice and do in their courtroom. And I look forward to taking this action, working with lawyers. I've been at this for 40 years. I believe I know every lawyer in town, and I think that I would be a good judge in working with these folks. Thank you.
Mr. Cassaw, same question to you. What would your rules of thumb be for carrying out justice as the judge of the county court at law number 1?
Well, first of all, you're in your judicial oath, you're required to uphold the laws of the state of Texas and the United States. In addition to that, I follow an Aggie Code of Honor because I'm a Fighting Texas Aggie graduate in 1987. Aggies do not lie, cheat, or steal, nor will they tolerate those who do. That will come into play in my courtroom. Additionally, the second most commandment that Jesus talked about, love your neighbor, that will come into play. In addition to that, I will handle these cases in a very calm, patient manner, but firm. I believe that I'm the only candidate that has the appropriate judicial temperament for this position. I have worked with all of the attorneys in this county. I have a very good working relationship with the attorneys in this county, and I think that's important. And I think that's a real indication of the type of judicial temperament and demeanor that I will bring to this courtroom. I have that. I have the calmness and the steady hand and the steady temper to handle what sometimes can be a fairly emotional situation in the courthouse. And that's why I am the candidate of your choice. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Please give another round of applause for these candidates. This concludes our first candidate forum. I want to thank again our sponsors, the Angelina County Chamber of Commerce and the Legislative Committee, the Young Professionals Network, and the Lufkin Daily News. Remember, early voting tomorrow, so get out there and vote. Thanks for coming.